Hello everyone. Happy Tuesday. It's time for Tuesday Night Live with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper. I am not live. This is a pre-recorded video, but I wanted to ensure that I could deliver the content I had for you. And I'm at my granddaughter's volleyball game, so this hopefully works for the both of us. So we're going to be using Christmas Friends tonight, and this is an 8-piece cling mount rubber stamp set, and it also has a coordinating set of 18 dies. So you can bundle these together, and that bundle number is 164088. When you purchase these two items using that bundle code, you save 10% off of the combined amount of the two items. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with a 3D item tonight. I've got this adorable little Have a Berry Christmas box, and this box will hold 6 Dove chocolates, and it also fits a gift card. Okay, so we're always needing boxes that will fit those at this time of the year. So I've created this one, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay. So we're going to start with our box, and for that we need a piece of a thick basic white, and I'm going to bring in the Simply Scored tool. Okay, and this cardstock is 5 inches by 6 3/4. We're going to start on the 5-inch side, and we're going to score that at 3/4, and then rotate 180 degrees and score it again at 3/4. And then we're going to rotate that to the 6 3/4 inch side, and we're going to score that at 3/4 and 3 on each end. So again, we're going to rotate that 180 degrees and score it at 3/4 and at 3. Okay, so that's all of our scoring. So let's grab our bone folder and let's give all of those score lines a good burnish. That is an important thing to do when you're making 3D projects, to make sure that all of those fold lines are crisp. Okay, so we've got that. Now this is symmetrical, meaning that everything is exactly the same. This is the same top and bottom, front and back, sides. So you're going to choose which one you're going to want to be the front in a minute. So we're going to go ahead and snip up on the large rectangle and then angle cut toward that score line, and angle cut toward the outside edge. Then we're going to move to the second score line down here and cut up again on the large triangle, angle cut, go to the large triangle again, straight up, and then angle cut. And we're going to repeat that for all of our score lines. So we're going to cut up straight on the rectangle and angle cut on those little tabs. Okay, so now these are all glue tabs. And we'll go to the other side and we'll repeat that again, straight up on the rectangle, angle cut both sides of that square, straight up on the rectangle, angle cut, straight up on the rectangle, angle cut. And that just removes that score line so that it won't be bulky. And our box will fold up much nicer. Okay, so now that we have those all done, we can bring in some designer series paper. Now here's where you're going to decide, excuse me, where your front and where the top of the box are and where the bottom of the box are, okay? So you're going to bring in some designer series paper. And my designer series paper that I'm using is from the Take a Bow collection. This is a 6x6 paper stack. You get 12 each of 4 double-sided designs. Okay. And that is so that you can make bows with the bow bundle easily, but that's not what we're using it for today. So I've taken a piece of the red and white stripe, and I have cut this piece at 3 3/8. This is actually going to go this way in the landscape position. 3 3/8 by 2 1/8. Okay, so I'm going to add this to the top of my box. Like so. And then the rest of my paper is going to go on the opposite sides on these 4 pieces here, okay? So we are going to take a look at this. And I'm going to put this down like that. I'm just taking a look at my design. So we're going to put that there. And then we'll put the 2 smaller pieces. This, by the way, is 3 3/8 by 5/8. Excuse me. And these 2 side pieces. Goodness, let me grab a drink. See if I can calm that dry spot. These 2 smaller pieces are 5/8 by 2 1/8. I'm just going to get that rolling on my silicone mat. And we'll put this on. Let me grab my tweezers. I work better with those when I can get my fat fingers out of the way. And then this piece is actually going to fold up and be the front of the box. So I'm going to fold this down like so to see what this is going to look like when I put it together. And I like that, so I'm going to go ahead and add that just like that. Okay. All right, so there's our designer series paper and how we need to put that on. Now I'm going to grab some tear and tape, and we're going to, that's what we're going to use to close our box. You could use liquid glue, but for the sake of this video, tear and tape will be faster and I won't have to hold it to dry. So I'm just going to put my tear and tape here in a equal sign, and I'm putting that tape right up to the score line there. Okay, not over, but right up to. And I'm going to do that on all 6 of these tabs. Oh, wait a minute. I don't need to do it on that tab. Oops. Okay, wait a minute. Because we chose this as our front, we don't need these 2 tabs. we need to liberate those and get rid of them. Okay, so we're just going to cut those off. Remove those pieces. Okay, and then while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and round the corners of these two. That way I'll know for sure that that is my top tuck tab. I'm just using a corner rounder. You can use whatever you have on hand. And then we're also going to, on this end, we're going to take a punch. I'm going to take a 1-inch punch. You can use whatever punch you would like. And I'm going to center that up. And not even a third of the way, I'm just going to give that a punch through both layers of the DSP and the cardstock, and that's going to be our finger tab. Okay, so now that we have clarified that, let's go ahead and finish putting our tear and tape on the other on the other 3 tabs. We only need tear and tape on 4 tabs. I did that. I almost forgot that. Well, I forgot it the first time I made my box, and then got partway through and forgot again. Okay, so we've got that. All right. There we are. Now I'm going to burnish those tear and tape pieces down. I want to make sure I give that a good press. Really burnish that down so that it will adhere itself really well to my cardstock. And then I'm going to lift off those backing, wax paper backings. And I'm just using the pointy tool of my Take Your Pick tool to help get under those, to pull that off. You can do it with your nails, but my nails don't work for this, so we're going to do it with the Take Your Pick tool. Okay, so now this is the back of our box, so I'm going to fold in these 2 side tabs and adhere them to the Designer Series paper sides. And I'm just going to bring the cut line to the fold line. Okay, cut line to the fold line. Do that with the front of the box as well. Get that box lid out of my way. I'm just going to fold it back a bit. And again, the cut line to the fold line. Cut line to the fold line. Okay, I'm going to take our bone folder and give those tabs a good burnish. Okay. Now, in order for these sides to fold in easily, you can tell they won't fold in here. I need to trim these a bit. So I'm going to take my snips and I'm going to angle cut toward this front edge and take that out, and then I'm going to angle cut toward this edge and take that out, and then I'll repeat that on the other side. So I'm just taking a wedge and a wedge on those large rectangles this time. Okay, so now when I go to close my box up, that lid is going to fit nicely right inside that box. Okay, so now we can throw in our chocolates and our gift card, if that's what these chocolates, the Dove chocolates, have to go in just the right way or they don't fit. It's a tight fit for 6 of them. Okay, so we've got those. And then we're just going to put that down, and now we're going to decorate the top. So we've got a piece of Granny Apple Green, and I've cut this with the Greetings of the Season dies. And if you don't have this set, this has been a fabulous set. I've used it a ton. This is an online exclusive, so get it while you can. And then I've also taken from the Stylish Shapes dies, and I've taken this third to the largest die right here, and I've cut that in real red, and that's going to fit right in that circle from the Greetings of the Season. Okay, so we can go ahead and put these together, and I'm just going to do that with some Stampin' Seal here. I'm just going to line that up like that. Okay. And then we can go ahead and add this to the top of our box. And I'm just going to do that with some Stampin' Seal as well. I'm just going to put that right in the middle of the top of our box. Just like so. Okay. And then we're going to bring in our stamps. So we have the polar bear from the Christmas Friends right here. And we're also using Have a Berry Merry Christmas. Okay. So let's grab some scrap white here. And some Memento Tuxedo black ink for my bear. I'm going to stamp him down. I'm just going to let that sit for a minute and let the ink transfer. Okay. And then I'm going to take the Have a Berry Merry Christmas, and I'm going to take Garden Green. And I'm going to ink that up. And I'm going to stamp that down. And I didn't get that very straight, but we're going to cut it, and hopefully I'll get that good. Okay, so let's start with the coloring on our polar bear. Get that done, and then we'll run these both through the mini machine. Let me get a few things out of my way here. Okay, so let's bring in the colors for our bear. And this is what we're using. We're going to use the Granny Apple Green combo, the Real Red combo, the Light Gray Granite, and a color lifter. Okay? So let's start with Granny Apple Green. And we're going to start with the dark. Okay. And I'm just going to dot in some dark Granny Apple Green here on the wreath. And along this bow here, and then just along the edges, and where the artists have some lines. And then I need to go up there, and we're going to come along here. Okay, so that's our dark, and we'll move to our light. Okay, and I'm going to fill in that wreath and leave those little red, the little circles for real red. They look kind of like they could be holly berries. So I'm just going to go around those and leave them. And that is our green. So now let's go in with the dark real red. And I'm going to dot in that dark in those little areas that it looks like there should be some holly berry. And then I'm going to go to the bow, and where the artist put the lines, I say these are the color me lines. I'm going to put the dark cherry cobbler there, and I'm going to put just a little bit right there, just where that would have a little shadow. And then we're going to bring in the light real red, and we'll color that up. Okay, almost done. That'll blend those two colors together. And then I'm going to take my Wink of Stella pen, my Wink of Stella glitter brush. I'm going to give that a good shake. And I'm going to bring that in and put it in on that bow. Okay. So now these are ready to be die cut. All right. So let's move these out of the way. Bring in our mini cut and emboss machine. And we've got plate 1 and plate 2. And then I'm going to set this over here for just a minute. I'm going to get the coordinating die from the Christmas Friends dies for my little polar bear here. Oh, which I forgot to finish coloring him. So sorry. Let me do that real quick with the light gray granite. I just want to go in and put just a little bit of gray granite where the artist has their lines here on the bear, just so he has a little bit of added color and dimension, because of course a polar bear would not be a solid white color. He's going to have some shadows and things. So we're just going to add those right there where the artist has the color me lines. Okay, and again, that was light gray granite. And then this is where my color lifter comes in. I'm going to take my color lifter, and I'm just going to give that a little bit of a swirl there along that light gray granite I put in, just to soften that and blend it so it's not quite so harsh. Okay. Now, if you want, you could bring in a little bit of petal pink and put it right there in his ear. And let's give him a little bit of a cheeky here. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and cut that out now that I finished that. So we're just going to put this on here. Line that up. Use a little piece of mint tape. And I'm going to get that twice because my other one moved on me, and I don't want that to happen a second time. Now, for this sentiment, this part can be a little bit tricky. I'm taking from the Christmas Friends dies. There is this package. It's just a rectangle that's supposed to be a package, and it has some bows that you can put on it, or some ribbon. And so I'm going to put this down, and because I didn't stamp this very straight, this might be a little bit hard. It does have little holes at each end, so I'm going to put this down and make sure I don't see any green in that. And I think I might be okay. And then we'll just tape this down. Without my hair, of course, would be nice. And then we'll put that on our cutting plate here. We're going to add another number 2 plate and roll that through. And we'll see how I did on that die cut. Oh, look, pretty darn good. That's definitely usable. Okay. Put those back on my magnet so we don't lose them. Okay, and there's our pieces. All right, so let's bring these back in and grab our dimensionals. Okay. So I've got the large Stampin' Dimensionals here, and I'm going to put 4 of them here. You could use more or less, however you like to do it. Get those wax paper backings off. And then we're going to take this bear and we're going to stick him right here. I did not press him down. I can still move him easily. So now I'm going to take a couple of minis and I'm going to put them at each end of my sentiment. Okay. And then we're going to add this in here. I'm going to kind of slide it in here underneath the bow on the bear a little bit. Make sure that's straight. I might want to go a little bit lower here. I'm going to move this down a bit. About like that. Whoops. And straighten that up. Give that a press. And then we're going to bring in the real red and white striped baker's twine. This is on back order at the moment. If you don't already have it, it will be back in stock though, supposedly sometime this week, the week of the 14th. Is that? Yeah. As of this morning, it was still showing on the back order list, but I did not check. Well, as of Monday morning, it was still on the back order list. So I'm just going to tie a double bow there. And then I'm going to bring this up and grab a glue dot. And with my take your pick tool, I'm going to roll that into a little log. Okay. And then I'm going to just stick this right here in the little hole that's on that tag we put on there. And then we'll add this right over the top of that. And finally, let's bring in some of the red and white peppermints. And let's go. I'm going to take one of the smaller ones. I'm going to put it out here. I have not pushed that down, so I don't have to commit yet. And then I'm going to take a larger peppermint And I'm going to stick that right up here in the corner of our Granny Apple Green tag. And there we are. There is our gift card Dove chocolate treat box. Okay, whoops, got this one upside down. There we go. Fits a gift card perfectly. All right. So there's that. And let's do a little cleanup. And we'll move on to our next project. So for the second project, I am using the Christmas Friends along with Sophisticated Sled. Let's put those peppermints back. Bring in our next bit of things, and then let's move these out of the way. I'm going to move this bear so I don't stick my hand in him. And there we go. Okay, now I don't have to worry about that. All right, so let's get to the Sophisticated Sled. This is an online exclusive bundle. Comes with, when you purchase the bundle, it comes with the photopolymer stamps. There are 11. And then the Sophisticated Sled dies, also 11. Okay. So we're going to use this along with the Christmas Friends, like I said. And so here is our color palette. We have Early Espresso, Basic Gray, Smoky Slate. Those are the inks I'll be using. And then we have a card base of Real Red. And this is a standard A2 size card, 5.5 by 8.5, and scored in the center at 4 1/4. Okay, so we've got that. And then I took another piece of that Take a Bow paper. This time we're using this pattern, and I'm going to use the green diagonal stripe, green and red diagonal stripe. And this piece is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And we're not going to do any treatments to this, so we're just going to put this down. Okay. So we can just add this to our card base. And then, I know what I forgot to preview for this. We're going to do a little bit of die cutting because I didn't do that. Okay, so let's get our stamping done so we can stamp and die cut what we need to do it all together. So I've got some of that basic white. This piece isn't going to be big enough for what I need to do everything. So let's grab, I have another piece here. Where did I put it? Okay, well, let's just grab it from here. It'll be fine. Okay, so let's just use this one. Get it all done at the same time. So for this one, we're going to take our mousse from the Christmas Friends, and we're going to stamp that in Early Espresso. Okay. Let that ink transfer. And then in Basic Gray, not Smoky Slate, we're going to take the swag from Sophisticated Sled, and we're going to stamp that down. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and trim this off. because this will not fit through my mini. And I need it to do that. So we've got those. Now we need a scrap piece of pecan pie and a scrap piece of smoky slate, which I've got here. And I'll need to trim these down too, so that I can run them through the mini. Okay, so that should work. And let's trim that one down. And trim that off a bit. There we go. And then I can maybe get all that through in 2 passes. Okay, so let's go ahead and color these before we cut them out. I find it easier. So bring in my coloring tools here. And again, we're going to use the Granny Apple Green and the Real Red for our swag here. So let's start with those. I'm going to start with my dark Granny Apple Green, which I didn't close up fully. Shame on me. You want to make sure you close these up. They are alcohol markers, so they will dry out quickly if you don't put the caps on. And I'm just going to put some dark along these leaves and here where the bow overlaps, because there would be a shadow. And then along the leaf and right at the base. Got the vein in the base. Okay. And I think, oh, I've got one more here. I think that might be, oh, this one is a leaf too. Right here. Okay. So now let's take our light Granny Apple Green. My cap is being stubborn. And fill that in. Okay. And this looks like it's a leaf right here, so let's grab that. And then this particular image is very forgiving. Has a lot of open space, so if you were to color it in as if it's all leaves, it would be okay. Okay, so we've got that. Now I'm going to take my dark Real Red, and I'm going to put just a little bit of dark there and here, in here on the inside of that bow. And along where that overlaps, because there would be a shadow there. And then the inside of that one. And there. Okay. And then we'll go back with the light Real Red. And we'll fill in the rest of that bow. Okay, almost there. All right, so that's that. Then I'm going to go back with my dark Real Red. And I'm just going to put a little bit of dark at the base of these berries. And with alcohol markers, you do want the area that you're coloring to stay wet for blending. And that's why I didn't do all these berries at the same time as the bow, because I need to be able to go back while these are still wet to get those two colors to blend. So I'll just fill in those berries. All right, there we are. So there's that image. Now we've got our mousse. And here is the color palette for our mousse. Okay, I'll give you just a minute to look at that. And then let's get to color. I'm going to start with the dark crumb cake. And I'm just going to put that in on his antlers where the artist drew the lines. And then a little bit here where it connects to the head, and maybe a little here where there might be a shadow. Okay. And I'm going to use that again because I'm going to use it on the face, but like I said before, I need to get this while it's still wet. I need to grab my light crumb cake and come in and blend these together. Crumb cake, light and dark, I find are quite a bit off from each other, so you really need to work quickly with those to try and blend them. Okay, so we've got that, and then we're going to take the dark again on his, I would call this the snout. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to be or not, but I'm going to do that. And then I'll come back with the light and fill the rest of that in. Okay. So there we go. Now here too, I'm going to grab that light petal pink. And I'm just going to give him a little bit of color on his cheek. And a little bit of color right here in the ear. And then for his body, I'm using the Natural Tones collection from the Deep SU100 and from the Medium Deep, the SU300. When you use these in the Natural Tones, there's 10 of them, and every other one has a red tone and every other one has a yellow tone. So if you're going to use them in tandem, it's best to get the opposites. So like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Okay, so I'm going to start with the 100. And I'm going to put in some dark here with the artist lines. And then I'm going to go back with the 300 medium deep and blend those together. I'm going to go right over that petal pink. And small little swirls to blend that dark and light together. Then I'm going to go back to the dark. And again, I'm going to go along those artist lines. Fill in with the dark. Okay, And then there would be a shadow underneath the scarf here, so I'm going to put that in. And along the left-hand side here. Okay. And then at the bottom. And then I'm going to go back with the medium deep and blend that again. I'm just blending and coloring. Some little circles. To get that to blend. Go back here and blend that. And I'm going to get in here and blend it that dark. I'm going right over the top of that dark with the 300 just to swirl that in and blend it together. Okay. So we have that. And then we're going to grab our real red again. I'm going to make that scarf real red. So we're going to start with the dark. I'm going to go around that ear where there would be a shadow. And then down the scarf here. Okay. I'm going to take my light real red. And swirl those two together. Okay, and there he's got his scarf. Now we're going to take some Granny Apple Green again. And I'm going to make his socks Granny Apple Green. So let's start with the dark. And we're going to go right along the tops here. And then just swirl just a little bit on the left edge of that dark. And then I'm going to go to the light. And blend those two together. Okay. And I'm going to go back and grab that medium deep. Just fill that in right there where there was a little bit of white on his belly. So now for the skates, we're going to use light gray granite down here for the actual skate part. Not sure if this is an ice skating moose or a hockey playing. Okay, so then we've got, for the shoes themselves, we're going to use dark smoky slate and light basic black. And I'm going to start with the light basic black. And I'm just going to go along the back of the shoe here and put in just a little bit to give it dimension along that back edge and go over the artist lines. And I'm going to do the same thing here. And then I'm going to fill the rest of that in with the dark smoky slate. I'm going to go right over that basic black and blend that in. Just like so. Okay, so there's our moose and we're ready to die cut. So again, let's bring in our cutting plates. And we'll get these on. And we've got a moose. Got the little moose die here. Oh, I need to poke this out from the last time. So that'll have a nice cut. Okay. And then we'll just fit that around there. Put on some mint tape. And then we'll take the swag and put that on, put our top plate on, bring in our mini machine and roll those through. Okay, then we've got these, and those pieces are ready to go. Okay, let's pop that right off of there. Okay, and now we need to cut our other pieces. Sorry, I forgot to pre-cut those like I normally would. So I'm going to take this piece from the Sophisticated Sled to build a sled. And actually, that sled's going to take up pretty much the whole mini plate. So let's go ahead and run this through in the pecan pie. And we'll set that aside. And then we'll bring in our smoky slate and our sled die. And we're going to run that through. And then we have one more piece to die cut that I should have done ahead of time, but didn't. So let's get these off our plate. Those pieces. And then we need a piece of basic white, and this is not going to be big enough. I need a 3.5-inch piece of basic white. Let's see if we can find that. Pretty sure this will fit. If not, I might have to leave you for just a second to run to the large one. I think this will work, but I'm not 100% sure because this die is pretty big. Yep, it's going to work right through the mini. There we go. Okay, so this large circle die that I'm running now is included in the Christmas Friends bundle. It's one of the, what I like to call, bonus pieces. And let's get that in and hope it cuts all the way through. It's pretty tight on the sides, but it did work. So we've got that now. Well, let's get our dies out of the way so we don't lose those. We've got a little magnet sheet right up here. So we need all these pieces. Let's pop those out. Okay, so there we go. There is our pieces for our card. Now let's go ahead. We're going to add this to our card front, like so, about like that. But before we do that, let's go ahead and build our sled. I'm going to bring in my silicone mat here. And I'm going to bring in my sled pieces. And for this, I'm going to put just a little bit of liquid glue across this bar here. And then we'll add the crossbar, the steering mechanism of this sled right here. Like so. Okay. And you want to set that on there so that you get the holes on the smoky slate part. Okay, now I need to poke out a few of these little pieces. They did not just pop right out like they did previously. So let's just pop out our little nail holes or screw holes, whatever they are, because we want those to be open. Okay, so then for this piece, I need to pop out these little center sections. There we go. Coming. Just being a little bit stubborn. There we go. That's all of them. Okay, so that's what this should look like. All right, so this is going to fit on here like so. And these, I found that you want to line up these two holes here with the center crossbar here. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to put some glue right here along this center crossbar. Okay, and then I'm going to put a little bit of glue between these holes on the top and the bottom rungs. Okay, and those did not pull. There we go. Now they're totally out of the way. Okay, so by putting my glue there now, when I put this down on my center crossbar there, everything else will line up the way it should. Okay, so I've got that. I'm going to go ahead and give that a good press just to make sure it gets good adherence with the glue. Okay. Now this we're going to add to our project here, like so. And then we're going to take our moose. We're going to put him in. We're going to put this in. Before we adhere this, though, we need to stamp our sentiment in there. And our sentiment says, let's decorate the season with happiness. So I'm going to take the early espresso. I need to put this in first because if I don't, then my sentiment won't fit. I'm going to go all the way to the left with this. Okay. With the circle, it doesn't really matter if you got it straight or not because you can turn the circle until you put it down. So we've got that. Now we can take our sled and we're going to go ahead and add some more liquid glue on the other pieces of our, this is going to go all at one time, I can tell. Oh, okay, hang on. Let's go back to our fine tip. I needed to get that one started and I didn't. Okay, so now I can put liquid glue all along my pieces here and on my wood slats. To secure this down. All right. So we've got that. Let's go ahead and put this here like so. I'm going to put it on there just about like that. And again, I'm going to take a clear block, press that down. And then I'm going to take my mousse and I'm going to get my Stampin' Dimensionals again. And we're going to pop him up. And I'm going to take a little bit of these sides here just to put on his horns. This one whole one is a little bit too big, but one of these half side pieces will work perfectly. Okay, and I like to use all of my Stampin' Dimensionals. So we're going to go ahead and take all those backings off. We're going to add our little mousse down here. Oh, silly me. Oops. I forgot to adhere. Let's see if we can get this up without ripping it. Yes. I think we're good. I think we're good. There we go. I have to add a little bit of extra glue there. I need to put this down. Okay, so let's go back and add us in some extra glue. So we can put that right back where we had it. Oops. Making sure we keep that sentiment straight. Okay. This is not quite sticking, so I'm going to add just a little bit of liquid glue right there on that rung. There we go. And I'll do the same here. I needed a little bit of extra glue there. Okay. Just press that down with the tip of my Take Your Pick tool and everything is nice and adhered. Okay, and we've already got those dimensionals off. So let's put our little, well, you know what? Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and put this on because I want to make sure I don't cover up my swag and I still get my mousse as close as I would like him. So let's put this right here with dimensionals. And then let's come in here and add our little mousse. Just like that. Okay. So let's do a little bit of embellishments. First of all, let's take some Wink of Stella and put that on our bow again, because who doesn't want a sparkly bow? Okay. And I'm also going to put a little bit right here on his scarf. And the final touch for this is some red and white peppermints. So let's take a medium and a small. And then we'll take one of the large ones and we'll put it right down here. Okay, then we'll give that a good press with the top of our Take Your Pick tool. And there is the front of our card. Now for the inside of our card, I took the little cardinal bird, and I hope your days are filled with fun and laughter. These are all from the Sophisticated Sled. Okay, let's do that. We'll put that inside, and if you're wondering why I only put one strip of adhesive there, I always do my cards that way so that the recipient can easily pull this out and replace it with a new piece and send it on its way if they so choose. So there is our card. I've got the matching strip of Designer Series paper. This is a 3/4 inch strip. It's what I cut off of the 6 inch because this is 5 1/4. So this is the 3/4 that was left. And then I took that little Christmas owl and did the envelope with that. Okay, so I'll bring back in those projects that we made today. And remember, let's get this. This one holds the gift card. So you can put these in however you would like. If you'd like to put the chocolates down first. And let me get all these back in here in the correct orientation so they fit. And then we've got our little gift card. And there you have it. All right. I hope you like those. Thanks so much for watching. Good night.